Hey, we are live on a Wednesday for another episode of SnL. My name is Lane.
And I am Scott. I cannot believe another week has gone by, Lane, but as always, we've got great content to share today. So let's get going.
Exactly right. So guess what? In Orange County, Scott, average days on market, less than 2 weeks.
I know.
Okay. The average amount of offers per listing is close to 5. So it's really competitive out there. It's really hard to get an offer accepted in a market that's, obviously still favoring the sellers. So today we're going to be talking about 3 tips on how to get an offer accepted in a market that's absolutely on fire.
Exactly, Lane. You know what? Today we just really want to get raw and candid with you viewers out there today, because we want to share our tips from the trenches, what we found works in any marketplace to increase the odds, and especially is relevant today.
And if any of these tips look simple, you'll be surprised that a lot of people aren't doing these and doing it as efficiently as we are. So we just want to make sure that we put it out there on what it takes to get an offer accepted, because we do have a lot of viewers that are watching this that are looking at buying out of state. And there's some areas out of state that are even more competitive than here in Orange County. So you can take these tips and hopefully apply it to getting a successful offer accepted there too.
Exactly. We want to just send you a big kiss today on this. And you know what KISS stands for when we're talking about things. As Lane said, keep it simple. Let's go.
All right. What's number 1? Agent to agent rapport.
Yeah.
Now, the agent to agent rapport is really important, because if you're building that rapport with this particular agent and they have 10 offers, their agents want to work with those that they like. You're going to be spending a relationship and spending time with these agents for the next 30 to 45 days. You don't want to work with somebody you don't like. So you want to be able to build that rapport with the agent. How? You want to make sure you're calling, you're texting, you're also being there in person, you're meeting them in person. But one little tip and trick that we've been using lately is we've been finding them and communicating with them on social media. So a lot of these listing agents, they're proud of their listings. They want to show it off to their sphere as well. So they're posting it on their Instagram accounts or on their Facebook accounts, and we're following them. We're commenting on it. We're being playful. We're being friendly. We're building that rapport. We're building that friendship. So when the time does come, we're going to stand out. A lot of times what's happened with for our buyers is we've built the rapport and we've built these relationships with these listing agents, and they're so strong that we get these calls of like, hey, you're not necessarily the highest price. However, if you can come in here, we'll go with you because I want to work with you. And that's all we want. We want the first right of refusal for our buyers. We want that opportunity for our buyers to come back and say yes or no. So building the rapport is absolutely key in getting an offer accepted.
You know, Lane is right on with that. And here's my 2 cents on that topic. Every transaction, or most transactions, are going to have 4 participants. You're going to have an agent representing the seller, an agent representing the buyer, the seller, and the buyer. And the first line of communication is agent to agent. And just like buyers and sellers wanting to work with those they know, like, and trust, as Lane mentioned, that agents also want to work with those that they know, like, and trust. They're in a marketplace today where they're going to be fielding so many multiple offers. It's dizzying the amount of extra work that has to be done on the listing agent's part today. If we can make their job just a little bit easier, as Lane said, by communicating ahead of time, making sure that when we present the offer package, it's succinct, it's bullet pointed. They don't have to ask us for anything more. If they give us instructions in the listing on what's needed, we make sure that we communicate very clearly to our buyers. Hey, this is the information. These are the extra documents this particular agent's going to need on this particular property. It's never a one-size-fits-all situation. And building rapport has so many different facets. It's just crazy important. And I go back to one of our leaders and mentors, Tom Ferry, who runs the coaching organization that we subscribe to. He told me something in the very, very early days of social media that we think about every day, and that's be interested, not interesting. And that is so key with this. If we're interested in the agent and his or her listing and give them a few kudos about that, we're going to vault to the top of their popularity list before they even see the offer.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not about the buyer's agent, right? It's about the buyer. It's about the seller. It's about the listing agent more so than it is us. As a buyer's agent, you're kind of on the bottom of the totem pole. So don't make it all about you. Make it all about everybody else. And if you really feel that the listing agent is doing a good job, it's okay to make sure you tell them that. Tell them that in a text or an email, because also chances are, if you do it in an appropriate way, and not really brown nose too hard, but if you do it in an appropriate way, they're going to share that message with their sellers. So now they're going to be like, look what these buyers have to say about me, or something like that. Like they're going to share the nice words that we say about the listing agent. So, if you have something nice to say, share it. Make it about them.
Absolutely. Delaine's point, you're not brown nosing. We're sincere and we're genuine. If there's something positive to say, we're going to say it. But the idea is, again, just breaking down barriers before they can be raised.
Yeah, that was good. Let's move on to number 2.
Let's do it.
Our offering package. So make sure that the offer stands out. It's not just about price, is it, Scott?
It absolutely is not about price. You know, the thing that most sellers are looking for is a smooth transaction with the least amount of hiccups that's going to lead to a timely close. They want to know when that closing date is set, can we count on that date? Because generally speaking, when that closing date hits, within 24 hours, the money is wired into their account, the proceeds from that home. Most people have plans for that money, whether it's to buy another property, invest with their financial advisor. They've got plans and they don't want to be up in the air. Everyone wants certainty today. So if we can understand that and relate certainty when we put together the offer, that's key. Also, and we'll have Lane point some of these things out, there are certain milestones within the transaction, contingency removal dates, if you will, that once we pass each hurdle from the buyer's side, the seller gets to breathe one more sigh of relief, and they're that much closer to a full contingency removal and close to a successful close. We want to present an offer that shows the listing agent and the seller that we have tight contingency timeframes, that we're in control of the clients understand the process. And Lane, tell us a little bit about that process.
No, that's very good. So let's talk about, at the beginning, let's talk about the package in general. Okay, so what goes into an offering package? Yes, you have the offer that Scott's alluding to, and we'll dig a little deeper into that. But in addition to just the offer, you're gonna want a pre-approval letter if you're financing from the lender. The further along in the process, the better. If you have as far as what's called DU approval, that'd be awesome. Have the lender reach out to the listing agent direct to go over your qualifications. That is an extra step that you can take as well. Make sure you have what's called proof of funds, showing where all the money's coming from to close on the escrow, whether it's the down payment plus the closing costs. You also, something that we put in, because Scott mentioned, it's really important to show that a good escrow is a closed escrow, as Scott always said, but we put in an agent resume. So we show that our close ratio is almost 100%, 99.7%, where if 30% of escrows fall out, but 99.7% of ours close, and we can show that to the agent, they're going to bring that to their seller. They're gonna bring that to their sellers, and they're gonna show, hey, these guys know how to close. And like, there's gonna be a confidence in going with us there as well. But let's talk about some of the stuff that goes into the offer. There's 2 things that makes an offer stand out. There's the price, obviously, and then there's the terms, the contingencies, if you will. So you have appraisal contingency, investigations contingency, loan contingency, inspections and disclosures and reports, all those different things. The shorter that you can tighten those up, the better you're gonna stand out. The ones that you can remove altogether, even better. I would say more than 90% of the offers for our buyers that got accepted so far in 2021, they did not have an appraisal contingency in place. So you're going to have to understand what that means in moving forward. Also, you have to make sure that you're lined up with a good lender that can get you loan approval quickly, because if you can tighten up that loan contingency, like some of our lender partners can do it in a week, and you can have it done in a week, that's going to stand out as well. And then if you are able to get that inspection done within a week, you're going to be gold. You're going to tell the sellers, hey, look, I'm a done deal, and I'm removing all my contingencies basically within a week after you accept my offer, and you're going to know exactly when we're going to close and that we are in fact going to close. So it's going to be really important. The terms are almost just as important, if not more so, than the price.
Absolutely, Lane. And let's make sure that those of you that are listening out there and you're going to be buyers, you're thinking, well, I'm giving away the store. I'm removing contingencies. I'm reducing the time frame on those contingencies. Well, what is in it for me? Well, let's understand that we educate our clients at the very beginning and explain how we can present our reduced contingency timeframes in a way that benefits the seller psychologically and realistically, but in no way at all diminishes the control that we have or the options that we have to make sure that we do our due diligence, have time to do our due diligence. A little tip and secret is that the default timeframes in the contract for most contingencies are ridiculously long. They're designed, to me, and in our minds at the Sackin-Stone team, for the ineffective, lazy, unorganized agent. I don't mean to throw people under the bus out there, but in the real world, most of those timeframes can be shortened by up to 75% and actually not detract or put the buyers in any negative position whatsoever. But we can present them and spin them in such a way that that reduced time frame is a big boon for the sellers. And understanding that most of the buyer's agents out there just check the boxes that are in the default because it's easy, and they're not taking the time to educate the buyers on really how much time it takes to do these things. And it's not nearly as long as we think. And while Elaine was talking, I wrote down one more little note here, and that is transparency. With everything that Lane is talking about, we're creating a sense of transparency and open communication that's going to lead us to our third point. But if we can present ourselves in a transparent way right up front and take our egos out of it, it just, again, creates that level of comfort for the other side.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. Should we move on to number 3?
Let's do it.
Agent follow-up, constant communication. I love it. You want to show your sticky note again?
There we go. Exactly, our transparency. So,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll take a quick jab at this, and we'll let Lane follow up. And hopefully you like this format on SnL because it is unscripted. We're just coming from passion in our heart with what has worked for us, and we love your comments of anything that you have to add as well. Don't forget to do that. But as we dive into the constant communication, what happens so often, and we've developed these strategies for our buyers because we've been on the other side as listing agents so many times, and then when things go wrong or the buyer's agent doesn't do things in a transparent and open communicative way, it makes us scared. So what I'm talking about here is so often when we've been on the listing side of things, you'll have this offer package. It's amazing. The agent seems to be just right on top of it. The buyers are great. The promises communication with the lender. Boom, you get the offer accepted. Everybody disappears. You can't get a hold of them. You don't know what's happening. You can't confirm appointments. And even in extreme cases, you get close to a contingency time frame and everyone has ghosted us and we can't get a hold of anyone. Well, that's scary because as a listing agent, you need to be updating your seller. You want to be keeping them in the loop, keep them comfortable. You want to feel like you're in control. So our number one job here is keeping in constant communication with the listing agent so they, number one, are doing their job for their sellers and their sellers can stay comfortable. So that's letting them know about every appointment that we're going to make coming up, whether it's inspections, appraisals, etc. Being a step ahead of contingency timeframes and removals. And third, making sure that our lender is in constant communication because in most transactions, there's financing. Everything's a house of cards. The buyer can be wonderful, but if they can't get the loan, they can't get the house. So we even take it a step further, and I'll back up to the offer process. Our lender actually calls the listing agent when we've submitted the offer prior to them presenting it to the seller. So the lender, whether it's a man or woman, doesn't matter, he or she can give comfort to that listing agent and say, hey, here's the situation with the buyers. You're hearing it right from me. Yes, it's backed up with the paperwork that I've sent, but you're hearing it right from me. And even better yet, here's how my team is going to communicate with the listing agent. You decide that's the seller side of things once we get under contract. So you're always going to know where we are every step of the way. And then again, part of that communication is making sure to invite the selling side to call us, call the lender, call our transaction coordinator anytime for anything, and then be good with that promise and that we respond and we answer.
Yeah. So part of that agent follow-up and that constant communication is obviously really important throughout your escrow journey, if you will. But how is a listing agent going to know that you're going to be communicating and transparent throughout the entire escrow process? It's everything you're doing to get your offer accepted preemptively ahead of time. So it's doing exactly what Scott said as far as, reaching out and building that rapport ahead of time, having the lender reach out, go over the qualifications ahead of time. It's okay to continue to follow up on behalf of your buyer, because if you can show the listing agent that your buyer really wants this house, they're going to feel good about accepting your offer. And then on the flip side, when we're listing agents and we're receiving offers, and let's say 3 of them come in at 2, and they're all really close, but we've only heard from 2 of the 3 agents. The one agent that we haven't heard from, we're probably not going to really go with or lean heavily on that one, just because, if we're not getting that good communication now, it's going to be even worse once the escrow is accepted. So if we don't even know that person or who they are or how they operate or anything like that, like, why would we even go with them? So you really want to make sure in the preemptive stages of trying to get your offer accepted, you want to have that over the top great communication, with the listing agent direct, having your lender reach out and giving all these updates as well before you even get the acceptance, because they're going to know that they're going to get exactly that throughout the escrow process as well.
Right on, Lane. And you know what? It just brought to mind something I remember back from my early job interview days as a teenager. We've all heard this adage when you're in that interview stages, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. And let's think about this. When we make that call to the listing agent with our buyer's offer, or even with the intent to write an offer, we've got that chance to make that good first impression. If we can set the tone that we're communicative, we're humble, we are sincere, We value the listing agent. We value how hard they're working and understand the job they have, probably, fielding multiple offers. We can make that first impression right off the bat, and then all the other dominoes will fall into place, that they're going to say, hey, this is a guy and a team that we kind of would like to work with if we can put things together. And how wonderful can that be before they even hear what the offer is, that we've set an expectation and set the bar high for our clients to have a better chance to get the offer.
Yep. That's exactly right. So quickly, in recapping, we went over 3 ways to get your offer accepted in a market that's completely on fire right now. It starts with number 1, building rapport, agent-to-agent rapport. There it is on the screen. Number 2, offer package. What's in the offering package? It's not just the offer, even though the offer is really important. We went over some terms and some things to put in the offer to make it stand out, but it's everything else in addition to the offer as a complete package that makes you stand out to get the offer accepted. And then finally, number 3, we have the agent follow-up, constant communication, transparency, as Scott alluded to. All 3 of those things are extremely important. All those boxes have to be checked off in a place that is very competitive for buyers right now in order to get your offer accepted.
Great recap, Lane. You're absolutely right. I love what you said. All the boxes have to be checked. So this is an entire all-encompassing procedure and behavioral pattern that needs to be set in place. But it's not that difficult because it is outlined. And if you follow these rules and these steps, you're going to have much greater success getting your offer accepted.
Now, as always, if you heard something of value here, or you heard something that you think somebody that you know might find value, please share this video with them. That's the best thing you can do for us to show us love. We love you. Like, comment, share, whatever you can do. That'll be awesome. But we're going to be back same time, same place next Wednesday for another episode of SnL, where we're continually bringing relevant topics and giving you the inside scoop on all things current for the local real estate market.
Absolutely. And as always, you're out there in the trenches, just like we are on the buying side or the selling side. If you have an idea for a topic you'd love us to talk about, reach out to us. We'll do the homework and we'll be happy to present it. Thanks so much for watching SnL.
See you next